Tell us more about Hillary Clinton's international experience. Earlier, we spoke with Patricia DeGenarro. She's a senior fellow at the World Policy Institute. She has over 15 years of experience as a writer, analyst, and consultant in international relations and economic development. I started by asking her whether she thinks Mrs. Clinton will distance herself from the Obama administration.
Well, she's going to have to try to do her best. I don't know how well she's going to be able to do, but situations around the world are changing, and they're changing quite rapidly everywhere across the globe. So she's going to have to really sit down and revisit where her policies are going to come from the Middle East to Asia, all around the globe, including, situations we're seeing in Latin America today.
We know that in her memoir, she apologized for supporting the invasion in Iraq in 2002. She has said she favored arming rebels in Syria, while President Obama has answered that in saying that that's really fantasy to say that this would have actually helped the situation, arming the rebels there. How will she step back from these issues, and won't voters see this as convenient for her to now distance herself from key issues?
She's going to have a hard time definitely distancing herself from herself, not necessarily the Obama administration. So that's going to be her big challenge. And I mean, she made some of these decisions under an Obama administration. So, often in that instance, you're being told what to do based on the policy of the president. Well, now she's the president, so she gets to set the policy. And she will have to step back and take a look. And, I think she'll have to revisit this idea of how they did arm rebels and the steps they took in Libya, and the way that they looked at it in Syria and the outcome that has happened because of some of the decision-making that came out of the State Department, not to speak with Assad, but instead to counter him directly.
Already, Jeb Bush has released a video online saying that we must do better than the Obama-Clinton damaged relations with allies and emboldened our enemies. So he's already lumped her in, saying the Obama-Clinton administration. We're not surprised to see this, are we?
No, we're not. But Jeb Bush better step back because, actually President Clinton, the first one, Bill Clinton, actually had very good relationships throughout the world, and people liked him very much. So it was actually the W. Bush administration that severed a lot of the ties around the world between America and allies and, friends and people and partnerships that we have had. So he better take a little bit step forward in one Clinton history and step backward in another one to take a look at what his brother set in place for this particular administration, especially in the Middle East.
Let's talk specifically about China. Some of the press has not been good regarding Mrs. Clinton. There were some op-eds in China Daily saying that she has taken every opportunity to criticize the Chinese for human rights violations, for any activity in the South China Sea. She will really have her work cut out to mend that fence.
She will. I mean, I think at the end of her tenure as Secretary of State, she basically looked at the fact that she has been a big advocate her whole life for women's rights and global values. And so I think she took a little extra leeway there with, on her outgoing, trying to show and trying to insert herself into some of these issues. And I think that's what you probably saw. But there's no doubt China is, the second global power in the world, basically. Coming on to the first, there's no doubt she'll have to take a relook at how she's behaving. I think overall, Americans will have to take a reevaluation of this whole idea of ethics and morality and human rights, and decide how relationships and engagement can make these issues better instead of just, dangerous rhetoric, which causes more divisions between peoples and societies.